Here we go, and we're live. So it seems the momentum is fading. The market sell-off continues. Markets snap a winning streak, and Treasury yields are surging again. Then we also have earnings from Starbucks, from Boeing, from Coca-Cola, and news from McDonald's. So there's a lot to talk about. Let's get started. And with that said, welcome to Coffee with Markus and Morgan. Today is Wednesday, October 23rd. And in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. And Mark, look at this. We talked about it yesterday. The momentum is definitely fading. The S&P down again today.
Yeah, and yesterday we had a decent comeback. We still finished the session lower, at least the S&P and Dow did, but it was a pretty flat session after the lower start. This morning, however, we're starting the day lower, just like we did yesterday. However, talking about that momentum, it looks like it's fizzled, and we're now making session lows.
Yeah, as you said yesterday, we opened lower, pushed higher, yet a small loss yesterday. Today, the other way around. And right now, it is all because of yields. And yields are on the rise again. Looking at a daily chart right now in the 10-year yield, we are at levels that we haven't seen since July.
That's interesting. Once the Fed started cutting rates, you would think that would push yields lower, and eventually they did. But now we're seeing a bit of a shift here, possibly because of the better economy that we have, possibly because the Fed isn't going to be cutting rates as quickly as some might have hoped, and possibly because of the election and inflation being a concern really for both candidates, depending on who wins and their policies.
Yeah, so long story short, what these yield charts tell us, it means again higher for longer. And this is
Yep.
where in August, we July and August, basically, we thought, okay, this higher for longer is coming to an end. And yes, the Fed did cut rates in September by half percentage point, and everybody thought, okay, this is the beginning, and they will just keep cutting rates every single meeting. And we talked about it yesterday. Yes, the probabilities for the next meeting are still at 87% that they will cut rates. But after this, it gets a little bit muddier, the waters. The crystal ball is fogging up here a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, and there's still a lot to come, but looks like the quarter point cut in November is almost a certainty. Of course, there's always a potential change, but after that, I think it's anybody's guess, really.
Yeah, and the Fed said during the last meeting when they updated their dot plot that they are planning to lower interest rates 3 times this year. So there's a possibility that they could lower it in the November and in the December meeting. But as you can see in the January meeting, it's almost 50-50. In fact, it's 45-55, 55% for not cutting rates.
Yeah, interesting.
All right, and then we have news from companies. First off, we need to start with McDonald's. McDonald's
Oh God.
coming back from session lows, but getting hammered after news that we received yesterday.
And this is where the CDC had said that an E. coli outbreak tied to the McDonald's Quarter Pounder has resulted in 10 hospitalizations and 1 death. I don't think that there's any connection there to Donald Trump manning the fry machine there at McDonald's drive-through, but you never
Oh, he
know.
did? I
Um,
didn't know that. I didn't see that. Okay.
No, it was just, coincidentally, he's working the fry machine, and then there's this E. coli outbreak. I'm just joking about that. Well, it's true, but I'm also just joking. But yeah, this sent McDonald's lower, and they were down 10% after the bell yesterday when that news hit. But a nice reversal here, and still a bit of a concern, but traders shaking it off a little bit, and now down about a half, not half of a percent, but 5%.
Yeah, definitely coming off session lows here. So we'll see. That's still a developing story. Let's see how traders and investors are reacting to this. It seems to be, although it's kind of isolated to Colorado. Did I see that correctly? Or is it across the nation?
I believe that it's isolated to certain area, and I don't remember which state it was.
Yeah. All right. And then we have Starbucks. Starbucks now having a new CEO. And wow, look at this. What a reversal here today. I mean, we got to jump over to a 5-minute chart. Starbucks reporting earnings today before the bell. No, yesterday after the bell. Sorry. And I mean, missing expectations yet again.
I mean, it's interesting to see this reaction because we had an earnings per share miss, a revenue miss, and also declining sales were announced. But after the lower start, it looks like investors saw that as a buying opportunity.
Definitely looks like this. I mean, I think Starbucks was down as much as 6% this morning and in pre-market trading, and right now, I mean, almost turning positive for the day. And we see that there was this huge jump after a new CEO was announced. So there was definitely hope for Starbucks, and I believe that probably this is why traders are shaking it off because the new CEO didn't really have a chance to implement everything that he wants to implement that you see in these earnings results. So there must have been something in the earnings reports that traders liked, and this is why this massive bounce back from -6% to now turning positive.
I agree. Give the guy a chance, and it looks like that maybe a vote of confidence by investors there.
Yeah. Another one reporting earnings. Boeing reporting earnings this morning before the bell, and Boeing down 3% right now.
Yeah, Boeing down, and I mean this is where you look at that the top and bottom numbers, and on the top end miss. The earnings per share coming in worse than expected. Revenue slightly better than expected, but investors not liking what was said.
Yeah, I mean, because Boeing operating at a loss. And I mean, this is Boeing. And I mean, not only do they make planes, but they're also in defense and aerospace. And if you hop over to Parex Optimizer and look at the earnings analysis for Boeing here, we see that now they have had the actual earning per share negative for quite a while. Look at this. We're looking back over the last 12 quarters. And I mean, they just keep burning through cash.
Yep.
So I
True.
don't know how much longer they can afford to do this. And I mean, now it has been going on since 2021. We can actually move our slider here a little bit and see for how long they have been burning cash. Let's just see if we. Oh my gosh, look at this. The last time they were profitable, I mean, consistently profitable, was in 2019. And then in the last quarter of 2019, it started to slide. I mean, loss there. A small profit and then loss. I mean, holy cannoli, how can they stay in business? Is this all just subsidized?
I don't know enough about Boeing to answer that question, Marcus.
But I mean, I'm really surprised if they have created losses, you see, and they missed earnings for the past 5 years. Well, I mean, I can
Yeah,
just tell
that's
you
a
this.
good
I'm going to
point.
stay away from Boeing. That would not be a
Yep.
stock for me to buy, even though, I mean, it's hard to imagine that Boeing goes out of business. It's also hard to imagine that however they're raising funds right now to keep burning through the cash, that this can be going on for a longer time. I mean, maybe another year or two, but wow. So if any of you viewers, if any of you have more insights into this, please do us a favor and leave a comment. But holy cannoli.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right. And then we have Coca-Cola and Coca-Cola. Oh my gosh. I mean, they reported much better earnings and revenue, and yet they're sliding 2.6% right now.
Yeah, so I mean, a good earnings report here, but if you look into it, the beat here and the better than expected revenue comes because of higher prices, which helped offset lower demand, right? So maybe there is the shift towards some concerns about demand for Coca-Cola products. Of course, Coca-Cola isn't going anywhere, but if that earnings beat in revenue was because of higher prices, how long can they keep those prices higher to improve those numbers? And so it looks like investors, maybe a little profit taking or concerns there with that statement, but it was a good earnings report for
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
All right, let's take a look at our trades and how we are trading these crazy markets. And first of all, we have two open trades with our WTF strategy, win the fear. So this is one of the strategies that we are trading. And first up here, ABBV. And ABBV had a great day yesterday. Today, pulling back a little bit with the overall market. We entered at 186.32. Right now, still trading above our entry price, although down today half a percentage point, which is in line with the overall market.
Yeah, exactly. In line with the overall market. Great start yesterday. No exit yet, and we'll see where we go from here.
Right, and then we have Tesla, and this will be an interesting one. I mean, this could even become a nail biter because Tesla reporting earnings after the bell today, and today down again 1%. Hasn't been able to fill the gap. We haven't received an exit signal before earnings, so we will hold it into earnings and see what happens. And of course, what we are hoping for is a strong earnings reaction, and we'll see. So tomorrow morning will be super interesting. We do have our stop loss in place. So as you can see right now, we are trading at 215. We entered at 220. Our stop loss is at 185. So PowerX Optimizer gives us all of these values, and we'll see what happens today. We're following our plan.
Yep, following the plan is the name of the game, and we even have a mug for it. Now, interesting. Looking at recent earnings, it's going to be an interesting one, Marcus, because Tesla has had a few rough quarters when it comes to earnings and the reaction. However, if there's a positive reaction, it tends to be really nice. So if we look at the overnight move over the last 12 quarters, we see that if there's a negative reaction, in general, the stock's down 5%. But if there's a positive reaction, the stock's up 9%, right? And that's what we're hoping for. We know the risk when we put on the trade. We have a stop loss in place. And this is where I'd love to see a little momentum to the upside. Even the 7-day reaction is a little hit or miss, but if on average the positive reaction up 21% or down 9%. So as far as the risk reward goes, I think it's decent, but for anybody that doesn't want to take on that earnings risk, just know that it could be a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And I mean, the price move reaction on the seventh day is almost 50-50, almost, right? So,
Yep.
I mean, five losing trades versus five winning trades. And if you look at the closing price change here on the seventh day, I thought that there was you see, there was this very, very, very small loss of 1.5%, which could have almost made it 50-50. But as I said, yeah, I mean, when it goes to the upside, it really starts rallying. And that's what we're looking for.
That's
So
what
we'll
we're
see.
hoping for.
All right. And then we also had some new trades popping up today. And first up, we had GE Aerospace. And both you and I took it. And oh my gosh, I mean, they are up 4% for the day.
Yeah, can't complain here at all. This is exactly what we're looking for now. Part of that was the gap higher, but based on our fill, it's still a nice move, and maybe we get a 1-day trade on this one.
We could. MMM, 3M Company was another one that popped up. We both decided to skip this one, and so far it's moving in the wrong direction. So our decision to skip this one has definitely paid off.
Yeah, talked about this in our call today with our mastermind members, and holding off on this one for now.
Yeah, and then we have Verizon. Verizon also up today 1% and had a good run this morning. Right now, pulling back a little bit, but still up 1.1%. We entered at 41.86, right now trading at 41.96, so 10 cents, but definitely doing what it's supposed to do. So yesterday, bouncing off the 200-day moving average, and now hopefully filling the gap that Verizon left after reporting earnings yesterday, which were actually better than expected, and yet a reaction to the downside. All right, hopping over to the wheel strategy and the wheel strategy. CSIQ, just we keep scratching our heads what's happening here. And I mean, I think we have to wait until after the election before we see any significant movement there. This morning in pre-market trading, CSIQ was 4% higher, 4.8% higher. As you can see, we gapped open higher and now pulling back. So after being up 4.8% in pre-market trading, right now down 2.5%, still holding nice support here at the 12 level. And I mean, you mentioned it yesterday, it's all about what's happening during the election that is coming up in a couple of weeks from now. So probably nothing that we'll see until then, probably just diddling along there.
Yeah, and Enphase did report earnings, which explains some of the volatility, but doesn't necessarily explain the move, right? Because Enphase took a big hit on their earnings report, and at least pre-market, it seemed like traders liked CSIQ maybe as an alternative to Enphase and thought that CSIQ could benefit. But since the market opened that reversal, we're just seeing volatility in CSIQ, waiting for some nice direction to the upside. And that's what we're looking for here.
Yeah. All right. Then BP, next on our list. BP, stock that you traded. And today, down again with crude oil, down 1%. I think crude oil was down 2% earlier this morning. And the same here for HAL. So HAL also down 1.5%. And HAL Halliburton now really showing some support here at 27.50, somewhere around there.
Yep.
And now it's time to move higher, and let's just do it. All right. KSS Colts all over the place again. And yes, so this where I said that I sold calls at 21.50. I think it was on Friday. Bring my total premium that I've realized to around 17,000, just a few dollars shy of 17,000. Today I pulled back, which means that I can probably buy back the calls that I sold and then sell them again on the next push up. So loving this, no complaints here at all.
Nice.
All right, Merck doing its thing. So Merck today, at first moving higher right now, slightly down around the unchanged mark here. So down 0.1%. Nothing to do there. UPS, on the other hand, UPS today moving a little bit lower with the overall market down 0.5%. And UPS will report earnings tomorrow before the bell. So UPS, come on, surprise us all and prove the naysayers wrong. Who was it? Barclays, who was downgrading UPS? Show them the middle finger.
Yeah, I think it was.
Do it.
What do they know?
What do they know, right? And then you traded AMAT, and this is where after this drop, you sold the 175 puts. How are those doing?
They're a little bit lower today, but not bad. And I so if anybody still likes to trade, I think that there's some nice premium there. We have some semiconductors reporting earnings. There was one today, and then LRCX tomorrow. So there's a little bit of volatility priced into those options that you might want to take advantage of if you like the trade. Doesn't look like I'll get an 80% exit today. Probably not a 90% exit. It will probably go to Friday, where I'll let the puts expire worthless or get assigned shares.
Yeah. So all good there. So this is what's going on. And we will take a look at the S&P 500 again, because there's a lot going on right now. And looking at a 5-minute chart of the S&P, definitely want to take a look at this together. So will we see a bounce back? And before we do this, it is the time of the day and in our show to actually tell a dad joke. Our little dad joke contest that we have going on. Mark, what do you got for us today?
Well, Markus, I think that it might as well stick to the Halloween theme.
All right, go for it.
What type of car does a witch drive? One with a stick.
All right. Good. Hey, you have grandchildren, right? Smaller kids?
Sure. Yeah.
You see, I was driving down the street the other day when I saw a sign, "Watch for Children." And I thought, wow, that's a pretty good trait. Got a new one?
That is.
All right, there we go. So you let us know who won today's dad joke contest. And look at this. Right now in the S&P 500, sliding lower, trading at session lows. Definitely right now, it looks like a mirror chart from yesterday where we opened lower and then pushed higher. Today, we're opening lower and pushing lower. So the S&P trading at session lows, minus 0.6%. The Dow trading at session lows, minus 0.8%. The NASDAQ trading at session lows, minus 0.94%. The Russell also down 0.9%. And the VIX, the volatility index, right now spiking up 4%. Yet still remaining below 20, but this is where we see, okay, there is definitely some volatility here in the markets, for sure.
Volatility seems to be creeping up, and there's more earnings to come.
There's more earnings to come. So the two important earnings that we are keeping an eye on is, of course, this afternoon after the bell, Tesla, because we have Tesla shares. And then also tomorrow before the bell, UPS. So make sure that you tune in tomorrow, that you see what is happening, how we handle the reactions to the earnings. So make sure that you subscribe. If you like today's video, give us a like. We appreciate it. If you want to share this video or this podcast, there's a share button somewhere here. We'd really appreciate it. And then after the show, let us know in the comments who told the better dad joke today, who won today's contest. All right. With that said, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
Happy trading, everybody.